was make the city proud, yeah. Wishing all the OGs could see me, nah, yeah. And when you feel something you can't see, but you know.
What can I say? Just being here and not really realizing how big TED Talks are, but then coming into that realization and then realizing that somebody that I'm connected with is actually doing a TED Talk. My guy Damon just did a tremendous job. He really works on his craft and he's gotten himself to a position to where like he would be invited to come and do a TED Talk, and this is no joke. And so I'm just really happy that he was able to come here and just do a super job and really just hone his craft and place himself in a position just to do better and bigger and greater things. And so listen, be on the lookout. His name is Damon Dillard, and I believe that he's going to do even greater things than what we saw here today at this TED Talk. This guy is amazing.
Man, it's so cool seeing your friends go from, you know, the bottom to the top, man. I've seen Dame literally go from your very dark place to now, I mean, being featured at TEDx, man. This is crazy, you know, and I love every second of it, man. So his talk was inspiring. We actually still have people in the crowd taking notes, which is awesome, which means that he gave. You know, he gave and he delivered, which he always does, man. So proud of him, so honored, you know, to call him my friend, my brother, and look forward to experiencing bigger and better things, man. So this is only the beginning, man. Dame, I'm proud of you, man. Love you, bro.
I'll admit, when a basketball player got on stage, for somebody who doesn't know the difference between basketball or football, I thought, what could this guy teach me? But I started sitting and listening to him and taking notes, and I realized that I'm the only person standing in the way of what I want. And I realized that I am stopping myself from starting because of failure. And if a boy who plays basketball can teach me that, then he can teach anybody anything.
He lives by the credo, how you do anything is how you do everything. Damon's talk, The Magic of Believing, will leave you on the edge of your seat. Please welcome Damon.
Amazing afternoon, everybody. Amazing claps, whatever it works. I'm extremely grateful to be here before you, and as I was on my way over to practice yesterday, I observed a moment that just really touched me, very similar to the young lady that was talking about worthiness. I was headed over, I was on County Line, and I observed a young man who obviously had been paralyzed from the waist down, and he was in his wheelchair, and I don't know if you remember the weather yesterday, but spring came on. It's nice and we can clap it up for spring real quick. And he was sitting in his chair, and he was just leaned back. And similar to the lights, the sun was just beaming down on him. And I could just tell in that moment, he was extremely grateful. He wasn't thinking about what he could not do, the fact that he maybe could not run, could not walk, couldn't do many of the things that he wanted to do in that moment, but he was grateful for that little sunrise. And I want you to think about your own lives right now. As you all look at me, probably wondering, okay, where's this thing going? Think about the gratitude that you can have in your life. The fact that you were able to wake up this morning, the fact that you were able to come to this incredible event that was thrown by, I can't even say kids, I mean, because these guys are absolutely incredible. Real quick, clap it up for them as well. But I heard someone once say that many of the things that you have in your life right now, somebody is praying for. So we can definitely be grateful for that. You know, I was thinking back to, I'm not only humbled by this opportunity, but I was also challenged. If anybody knows me pretty well, they know I can be pretty long-winded. So when I saw the culture here with TEDx, they gave me a parameter of how much time they were going to give me to speak, and I said, oh, okay, I'll try to make that happen. But as one of my mentors, silent mentors, Les Brown says, the best speakers make the fewest words go the farthest. So we'll see how this goes, all right? So I want to take you on a trip real quick. I remember being a young man. I don't know if anybody's familiar with the tale of two cities, but I myself almost had a tale of two cities. My parents got divorced when I was 2 years young, and my father lives in Cleveland, Ohio. My mother lives here in this great city of Columbus. Go Bucks, right? And yeah, that's good. So my father lives in a city, if you're familiar with Cleveland at all, he lives in an area called Lakewood. Very, very prestigious area. One person from Lakewood. One person from Lakewood. But a beautiful, beautiful neighborhood. When I lived with my mother down here, we moved to off of Ohio and 22nd. Yeah, I didn't think so. Moved over to Ohio on 22nd, and then we lived in the Hamilton, Linden area. So two totally different ends of the spectrum of places to live, right? On one end, I have a lot of poverty, a lot of just lack and limitation I see every single day. On the other end, and when I go visit my father, I see things that I only dreamed about when I was younger, right? I was one of those kids that fell in love with the game of basketball. Do we have any Little Penny fans in the house? Does anybody? Okay. Wrong crowd. Somebody remembers Little Penny. Come on. But Anthony Hardaway, guys like Allen Iverson. I fell in love with the game of basketball. I used to practice my moves all the time, and one of the things that I dreamed about, not only making the NBA, but also having a gorilla backboard. That was a big deal to me. Now, I know many of the kids here probably have one and don't even utilize it, but I remember going to Lakewood and just seeing these different things that exposed me to a different way of living. I remember being at my mother's home and being like, you know, what's the difference? What's the largest difference between what we have and the lack in my mind of what we have and what my father's able to enjoy? Is it the fact that maybe they don't go to church as much as I do? Because man, my mom was prayed down, right? She would go to church 5 times a week. If you ask me the books of the Bible, I knew every single one, all right, by heart. My father didn't attend church at the time, but he had so much more. So was this belief of being religious or being spiritual, is that what gave you more? And so I thought to myself, okay, well, if it's not that, maybe it's principles, right? I remember my mother instilled 2 different principles in me. One principle that caused me a little resistance in getting to my dream. The other principle gave me the leeway of eventually believing I could get there. What was my dream? Many people may ask. Well, my dream was to go to the NBA. Yeah, I know what you're saying. Well, you're a little vertically challenged. Yeah, I am, right? But that was my dream. I remember my mother taught me a principle. She said, bad association spoils useful habits. Yeah, that's right. So many of you have parents right now that are trying to curb your appetite to be around the wrong crowd and get you in different environments like that. They should be applauded for that. Now, on the other end, she was saying that if you can believe it, then anything is possible for you. Okay, but bad association spoils useful habits, so that's not going to allow me to play any organized sports. From the moment I was born to right now, if you see me any other time that I don't have a suit on or I'm running my company, I have a basketball in my hands. I love the game of basketball. So my entire life, I just simply wanted to play organized. I wanted to show people my talent and abilities. But bad association spoils useful habits. No organized ball. But at the same time, I had a belief. Man, I could go to the NBA. I don't care what my height is. I know there's stories of guys that have made it. But I want you to think about this word believe. Yeah, believe. The word believe, if you look up in Google right now, it's to accept something as true. But I think that's almost an oxymoron because I think Shakespeare said it best when he said, whether right or wrong thinking makes it so. So if you look at that word believe, I think it's a construct. There's another word in the word believe, lie. Lie. Okay, so if the things that I believe about myself right now are constructed based on a set of beliefs from somebody else, could it possibly be a lie? And is that lie empowering my life or disempowering my life? You know, it reminds me of a story. I don't know if you guys heard the story of Cliff Young. Cliff Young, yeah, 1981, the inaugural race from Melbourne, Australia to Sydney, Australia, an 844-kilometer race. More accurately, 544 miles. Somebody was going to race. Now, I'm a basketball player. I consider myself to be an athlete. Do we have any athletes in the room? Okay, my man. Do we have any long distance runners in the room? Has anybody ran from here to Atlanta, Georgia before? Right? Absolutely not. But these guys signed up for it. They were excited to run that. Anyway, so the day of the race came, and of course you guys got people there in Adidas jumpsuits. They got their Sauconys on. They're excited. They got their trainers on the side of them, and they said, you know what? We're going to win this race because guess what? The prize money at that time in 1981, $10,000 would have changed some lives. So I can imagine that these guys got started for years. So everybody's signing up, and they look out the corner of their eyes, and they see a young man coming up, 61 years young to be exact. I'm gonna get some fans for that one after this. 61 years young to be exact, and he walks up, you know, he's just kind of walking along, just kind of trotting over. He's got his rubber galoshes on, he's got overalls on, and he got his little straw hat. And they observe, he starts to sign up. What is this man doing? First of all, have you taken your blood pressure medicine today, sir? Right? He's signing up. He's getting ready for the race. And they look over him, you're going to participate? He said, yeah, well, I mean, last night I had to gather my cattle together, and it was raining pretty hard, so I had to stay up all night to do it. And it's something I do on a regular basis. So I figured, I can do this too. And I think it's funny to note that they said that he didn't even have his dentures in his mouth because he said that when he runs, they rattle. Right? So everybody got started in the race and everybody's in their stance. Don't expect me to sprint because these are kind of tight. I don't want to break anything right now. All right, so they get in their stance. Everybody's ready to go. Boom, everybody takes off. They're in their run. Cliff Young. He's just kind of strutting along, right? I can imagine, he was just so cool with it too, just so cool with it. Now get this, there was a belief at that time that in order to run that race and to do well and to complete it, you would run for 18 hours and you would sleep for 6. Run for 18 hours and sleep for 6. Somebody forgot to tell Cliff that. So, while all the other runners, athletic, in shape, they got their 18 hours in, they laid it down, they, revamped, they got themselves ready for the next day, they rested. Cliff kept going. He just kept going. He just kept going. Guess what he did, ladies and gentlemen? He ended up setting the record for that race by 2 days. Now I ask you, what are you believing about yourself right now that may be positioning you outside of where you're supposed to be right now? Maybe it's empowering your life, but maybe it's disempowering you at the same time. There was beliefs that I had about me when I was younger that you know what, I don't care what my mother says. I don't care the limitations that she's placed on my life, because at one point, I'm gonna be a man. I'm gonna be able to make my own decisions. And I'm gonna go to the NBA. There's 2 components that I feel impact and grow your beliefs. So I know they said you have some notebooks. I know this is the time of technology, so maybe you're taping this, or you could catch it on WOSU. I didn't even know that channel was still around. You guys remember Wishbone, Carmen Sandiego? There we go. Cool. 2 areas that impact and grow your belief. Now the first 4 components in impacting your belief, I learned later in life, but I was doing this inadvertently to live out my dream. The first area is environment. What environment are you around on a regular basis that's impacting your belief system? The second area is your association. Who are the people you're around? I think there's a great quote, and we've all heard it before. The 5 people that you spend the most time with is who you will become. Show me your friends, I'll show you your future, right? The third area is information. What information are you taking in on a daily basis, nightly basis, unconsciously even? That's creating your belief system. And last but not least, the experiences. Yeah, this TEDx event, this is an experience that's formulating your belief right now. So what did I do? I reverse engineered that process, didn't even know I was doing it. I need to put myself in an environment, maybe you guys have heard of Andrew Lavender, maybe a guy, Esteban Weaver, Tyhan Johnson, George Reese, all these professional basketball players that will begin to mold my belief to help me believe that I can do what they did. Right? What's the next thing I did? I started to get the right type of information. I started to look up different stories of gentlemen that came from a similar background, weren't able to play any organized ball, but they still were able to make it to the NBA. What's the third thing I did? Yeah. Association. All right, we reversed that, but that's okay. You're following along. Association. I began to associate with these same guys. The experiences I was getting. I began to go to different showcases in different cities and expose myself to an environment of somebody that was in an athletic point of their life where they're expecting. Yeah, that's a great word. Write that down. Expecting. I was expecting to become successful. Now, end of the story. Obviously, I didn't make it to the NBA. Right up there, but I did get a chance to do some incredible things with the game that I love. I was able to play at Capital University, go Crusaders. We won a couple of OAC championships. I don't care, to the day I die, I'm gonna tell my grandchildren about that one game. I had 29 points in one half. Yeah, your granddad used to punch the ball. Oh, thank you. What's the point? My belief was impacted. Okay, but what if you have something that you're going after? First of all, you have to start with a dream. You got to start with a goal. You got to start with a desire. But how do you begin to believe into that? Well, you need to grow that belief in that area. First way you grow your belief is through words. Words are extremely important. Not only the words that you're hearing from other people, but I guarantee you 75 to 80% of the conversations that you're having every single day are with you. You're talking to yourself all the time. So understand that the goal and the dream that you've had or you've had for a while is just simply something you may have talked yourself out of. What's the second area? Images. Images, your vision, right? This huge difference between having sight and having vision. I saw myself as a basketball player I planned to be in the future, which propelled that journey for me, which got me closer to that goal. What's the third thing? Emotions. Oh, this is extremely important. Emotions. Yeah, they say you don't get what you want out of life. You get what you picture, but you also get what you feel. How are you feeling on a daily basis in accordance with your goal or your dream? Are you feeling like you're getting closer? Are you feeling like it's not obtainable for you? Words. Words. Yeah, words are very important. You know, I heard this story. I thought it was absolutely incredible. There were two young men, probably the dead of winter, very, very cold outside, probably around the age of 7 or 8. They decided to make grand plans and they wanted to have a great time that day. They said there was a pond nearby. They could play on the pond, they could ice skate, they could, be the Wayne Gretzky out there, do whatever they wanted to do, but have a great time. There was no school that day. So they set out, and obviously at the pond, just like any other pond that's frozen over, there's probably signs that say, do not get on the ice. Do not get on the ice. Just like any other kid, pretty rebellious, they did what they wanted to do. They went out there, they set out, they had fun, they were playing Wayne Gretzky, they were skiing across the ice, they were doing their thing, and then all of a sudden, one of them dropped into the ice. Now the other friend saw his friend drop into the ice, so he runs over to his rescue, but he's too late. He's seeing his friend go under the ice, and he's going farther and farther, and he has fear in his eyes. He sees his friend, life literally leaving his body at the same time, and he's afraid. So he's looking around, he's screaming for people, somebody help, please, somebody help me. And he's beating on the ice, he's trying to get through, He doesn't know what to do. So of course authorities came. I guess one of the parents probably heard the screams, they heard the shuffling. They were probably wondering where their son was, so they came out, and what they observed was a young man holding his friend. The young man holding his friend. They saw the area where the young man had fallen into the ice, but then they saw an area where there was a huge branch next to another area where obviously the little boy had been pulled out. So the authorities are looking around. They're looking for an adult. They're looking for somebody, because there's no way that this branch, bigger than both these young men, there's no way that little boy could have gotten that branch, broke the ice, pulled his friend to safety, revived and saved his life. So they began to ask each other. The police are asking the EM workers, how do you do it? The parents are wondering. They're looking around for another adult, Superman, somebody, right? How do you do it? How did he do it? How did he do it? How did he do it? So they look around and they see a homeless man. And the homeless man walks over to him and he says to him, I'll tell you how he did it. There was no one there telling him he couldn't do it. So I want you to think to yourself right now, what have you been talking yourself out of? Because at the end of the day, you get what you say.